Your guitar is optimized to play in the keys of G and E minor. And by that I mean that each one of these strings, when played open, is a note within those two scales. Those two scales share the same notes, but they have different starting and stopping points within the scale that cause them to be either a G or an E minor. It's something that makes them inharmonic. It's like this. This starts on E. And it sounds very E minor. But the same notes stopping on G sound very major. They're the same notes, but they just are inharmonic equivalents, and that'll be for something you'll have to just look up. But see, this first graphic shows the first scale, shows the scale using the open strings. You can see I got little circles on them. I was making this and I thought maybe I should fill it in, so I filled them in with red in the strings, but you don't have to press anything. You just have to play those strings open. So if you're starting on the E, and then you're playing the second fret of that sixth string, and the sixth string is the bottom string, and then the third fret of the sixth string is the G, and if you start on there, on that G, and continue on back or forward in the scale, you're playing in G. Take a quick look at how to memorize this scale. Now you're going to notice that the first string, you play it open, and the second string, the second note is played on the first string on the second fret, and the third note is played on the first string on the third fret. And for the second string, you do the exact same thing. You play it open, and then you play and then the next string you play open, and then you play the second fret, then you skip one, and the next string you play open, and then you second fret, and then you don't play anything further than that, and you go straight to the B string and you play it open. And then this time you play the first fret on the B string, and then the third fret on the B string, and then the E string is just like the last time you were on the E string, open fret, second fret, third fret. It's great because these strings are the same. Those are all the same. That means you got half the strings memorized if you can get that down. If you do this one on the B string, it's kind of the same. It just uses the first fret instead of the second fret. That's 4 strings. G string's really easy. It just goes. This one is a stretch. You gotta, this is the only one that goes out this far. This one's like that one. The 4th string, but it doesn't reach out to here. It just goes, and then goes straight to the B string. Can't look at the camera, I gotta close my eyes. So the So who would use this? Well, people who play in the cowboy chords would probably use this to switch in between, or maybe people that would be interested in this are people who are working on, say, triads, and they're playing a G triad here in the A shape, which is all these open ones, and the second chord. And then when you're doing that, you kind of notice that if you hit some of these extra strings, you hit the open strings, maybe it's an accident, maybe you like that it was happened, but it's going to work, and it's not going to be terrible because these open strings are within the keys of G and E minor, and that's super forgiving, which is why G and E minor are so great to play on your regular electric or acoustic guitar, because you're able to terminate into it. The other people that might be interested are people who are trying to learn their scales, like you're learning your G scale. And you're interested in how it terminates at the nut. And what it's good to know is that all the strings are open when you're playing in G or E minor, which kind of makes them so popular. So that's it. You should go back and look at the scale and see if you can get it down. And then you'll have two keys that you can play in where you're able to utilize the open strings while you play. You're going to really like it. Now the next part of this video is, a lot of you people who love playing pentatonics are going to notice that the pentatonic in G major and the pentatonic in E minor are right here as well. They're right there. And you want to take a look at this graphic. You can see the scale where it terminates into the nut, and you play all the open strings. But if you cross out these notes, then you can see a familiar pentatonic shape coming into place. It looks like this, of course. And all of those strings are open in this pentatonic scale. And people use it, I don't know, it's not only good for playing in G and E minor, but it's also great if you're playing an E7th, because people use the pentatonic. When they're playing an E7, they use the pentatonic scale. So it's good to know that all of those notes in the open, when you're hitting in open notes, are part of that pentatonic scale. Because if you hit a couple extra, or maybe you want to add an extra, it's right there for you. So it's really good. It's really good to know that. And then some people might want to say, well, how do I extend this forward? And well, you're going to take a look at our scale, and it's the basic one, and it shows all the open strings. And then you can extend it here. If you're using the cage system, I'll extend it out here. I'll put these little red notes in here, and you can see, you'll start to see, if you play the cage, you can start to see a familiar pattern. and then it backs into the nut, and there it is for you. And these are the ones you would, are the ones that marry it to the nut. This one's in this box right here. Then, okay, if you're a 3-note per string person and you're trying to learn those scales, here's your starting point. This is the scale that we learned. And then I guess 3 notes per person from G. 3 notes per string. There we go. It's going to start here. And then in these boxes are the notes that marry the termination of the scale at the nut to a 3 notes per string concept. All right, well, I hope you got something out of the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.